What's going on, everybody? Mike here, AXC Garage. Welcome back to the channel. Today we have another episode on this one-of-one 2017 Honda Civic Type R. For some of you guys are new to the channel, this car used to or previously owned by Honda Pro Jason. Now the new owner brought the vehicle to us to do some upgrade and also some maintenance. Now before we get started, let's go over what we have done on a previous episode. On the previous episode, we went ahead to replace it with an upgraded coil rack radiator, a factory OEM water pump, a Spoon Sport thermostat, and also RV6 rear lower control arm and a sway bar set. Now in today's episode, we have a big brake kit for both front and the back of the vehicle. Before we get started, let's go and get the boxes open up and see what they look like. All right, John, what do we have here?
All right, so you already saw the unboxing. What we have here is a full brake upgrade for the FK8 from a company called Paragon. And it's a pretty nice setup. The front utilizes a 6-piston caliper, and as you can see, they are increasing in size in the pistons. I don't necessarily know what that means. I do know that the NSX NA1s, NA2s use a small and big piston on their 2-piston caliper. If you guys know a little bit more about it, drop us some comments in the comments and let us know. So like I said, this is a 6-piston upgrade to the 4-piston Brembo that's on the car. And in order to get this to fit right, it comes with some adapters to space it out, because paired up with the 6-piston caliper, this monster rotor upgrade here, 2-piece design. Overall diameter is larger as well. We'll put all the specs down below, and that is pretty nice. Now the rear upgrades to a much larger 2-piece rotor for the rear. So as you can see here, 2-piece design, slotted, and a much larger diameter. In order to take that and still utilize the stock rear caliper, it comes with modified rear brackets that will accept the caliper on the car. It also has the electric parking brake, makes everything a lot easier, but this part is extended to compensate for the larger diameter of the rotor. So if you're not familiar with the idea or theory behind a 2-piece rotor, here's a rough little rundown on it. You have a 2-piece rotor. What this is going to do is allow your heavy braking heat that's brought into your rotor contact area. It will stop it from translating that heat into your wheel bearings. Now this is only really necessary for some really heavy duty racing, and that's why you'll see that. So if your brake rotors get glowing hot red, what that's going to do if you don't have a 2-piece rotor is transfer that heat through the middle piece here into your wheel bearings, causing your wheel bearings lifespan to reduce greatly. That's one part, and also it makes it a little bit lighter because this part is aluminum, this part is steel. So I'm sure these are all high carbon and will have a pretty good lifespan. The front brake setup comes with a new pad for it. No, that's the rear. Don't mind me. The fronts come with a new pad setup that will compensate for all of that. And of course, a set of steel braid lines. It looks like these are primarily for the front. Now, we're gonna see if these are 100% necessary or not, because we already do have spoon. I believe there's spoon brake lines on here. So we're gonna see how much of this we need, how much of that we don't. And also with the rear brake pads, we have spoon on there. We might just end up going ahead and putting all of the matching components on the car. We're gonna go ahead and take a look at that when we get into it. But overall, this should increase the braking performance even more. If you've ever driven an FK8, you already know the braking is great on it. To have much more on it, it's just even more over the top. So first step's getting all the wheels off the cars. I'm gonna go ahead and crack all the lug nuts loose with my breaker bar. That way we don't damage the lug nuts. They look pretty fancy. But once we get all this off, we will start in the front and then work our way to the back. And then when we are all done, we'll bleed out the system. All right, so we got the wheel off, and what we're gonna do first is remove the factory caliper and rotor from here. And I believe there's some slight modifications we're gonna have to do to the mounting surface in order to get the new adapter bracket to fit. So let's go ahead and start breaking it down, and we'll show you the whole process. All right, so this is our adapter bracket, and it even tells you right on here, facing the disc, it mounts right onto this here. And this gives you a good mounting point for the caliper, which bolts this way instead of from the back. Only issue is, if you take a look right here, there are these casting marks on the actual spindle, and you have to shave these down some because this part contacts right here. So I'm gonna use my air grinder and just take some of this casting mark off on the top and bottom, and I need to trim a little bit off the backing plate because the bracket touches it right here, so no big deal. All right, so we got the bracket fitted. All the clearances, you can see how tight it is, the way it fits in there. That's why we had to take off that casting mark. Maybe I took a little bit more, but it's all good. Everything is still strong. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this, we're gonna take it back off. I'm gonna put some blue Honda lock on here, just on the threads. I always just put a tab of it. Blue, you can't really see it anymore, but it's still Honda lock blue. This is the lightest strength one, but we don't want anything to come off. So we want to make sure we always put a little bit of this on everything. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove the bolts, put a little Loctite, put it back together. All right, so now the last thing we need to do is, this car has the spoon brake lines that come from the body over to this bracket right here, this little mounting block. And the factory one uses a hard line. This one uses this flexible stainless steel line to adapt it to fit properly on the caliper. So all we gotta do now is remove the hard line and install this line in place of it.
All right, guys, we are all done up in the front here with the Paragon upgraded 6-piston calipers along with a 2-piece brake rollers. Now over here on the table, we are getting ready to do the rear brakes. Let's just go over and see what we got here. 2-piece brake rollers along with these upgraded brackets and also the brake pads. Now over here, we'll be using the original rear caliper. Now in order for us to get the new brake pads back on, we're gonna need to retract the parking brakes, and John's gonna show you guys how you're gonna use a special tool to get that retracted.
All right, so we have our Honda computer hooked up to the car. We got the ignition on. Now we just have to log into our actual Honda diagnosis program, and we will. The radar detector was going off. The car's going really fast, not even moving. So we have to get in here, and then we have to go into our electric parking brake system and put the rear brakes into maintenance mode. That'll take the tension off of it and allow us to retract the piston without damaging anything. This is all because of the electric parking brake. Enter brake pad maintenance mode. So now it's in maintenance mode. We're free to go ahead and take everything apart in the back. And then when we're done, we have to go here and take it out of the maintenance mode. So let's go ahead and get this done. All right, so everything's installed, super easy. As far as the backing plate went, we just had to bend it back a little bit. Nothing needed to be cut or trimmed. You can see the new brackets installed with their brake pads to go with the whole kit. We figured it'd be good to keep the brake pads that are recommended for the rotors, so the whole kit's even. You can see that the caliper bracket now is red when it was silver before, and it utilized the stock caliper, parking brake and everything. Super easy install. No need to bleed the brakes. We just have to bleed the fronts. Everything's set up, it's good to go. Wheels on. We'll take it out of maintenance mode and we'll bleed the front brakes. So this thing, we're in the home stretch right here. And not to mention, this thing looks huge. It's a beautiful upgrade. Perfect, we're back to the regular mode. Now, all we have to do is bleed our brakes and the entire brake upgrade is complete. And well, there's also, I believe, a bedding process that we have to do in order to properly seat the pads to the rotors. We have all that on the paperwork as well. But this one's been pretty easy and really beautiful upgrade. Let's go ahead and bleed it and get it done. All right, so what this car has in it now is a Mold Tool 660. I'm running this on my car, on the 23 Integra. We took it to the mountain. This never overheated on me. I never had brake fade. This worked really good. We also upgraded my brake pads on my car. This one has a different compound as well. Works good as well. So what we need to do is we need to come up to our reservoir, which she's already pretty full because the fluid was just recently changed on here. And we're going to have this on hand for when we bleed it to refill it. You never want to let your master cylinder go empty. So it's always good before you start to have your bottle here ready to fill it up. So when it comes down to the brakes, we're gonna end up doing these calipers the way that you're supposed to do them. You bleed it on the inside bleeder first and then move to the outside. And we'll get our handy dandy brake bleeder bottle out and it'll help us get this done in no time.
All right, guys, we got the Mugen MF10 mounted back on the car, and I got to say this Paragon brake kit look amazing on this FK8. Now we got two more things to finish up before we end this video's oil change and also a four-wheel alignment. Now before we get on the alignment lift, let's go ahead and knock out this Mugen oil change.
All right, so we're on the alignment rack and we're getting ready to do all of our adjustments after installing the rear toe kits from RV6 and the sway bar. And we're just gonna go ahead and dial everything back in after having all the suspension apart. Now, you know, I don't know if you can notice this, but there's still no front bumper on here. Car's been here for a long time. Paint Society is a little behind schedule as usual, but you know, we won't say anything. Oh, I just said something. Never mind. Try not to notice that it's only half a car in the front here. So we're gonna go ahead and put it up, and I'm gonna show you there's a couple special tools that come with this toe kit in the back, and we'll show you how it works and everything. So let's go ahead and get it up in the air and get it going. All right, so here are our specs. We're not too far out of whack on here. So we're gonna put it up and we can show you how the adjustments are gonna work in the back. This kit comes with two special tools that are designed to fit into there to adjust it the way that it's designed. So let's go ahead and put it up and we'll go underneath and I'll show you how it's done. This arm now cancels out the factory cam bolt adjuster for toe, and we can do it on this turnbuckle situation here. So first, this is the lock that locks it into place here, where this threaded sleeve goes in, and then this nut here is what locks it to here. So to adjust this, you gotta loosen these two up, undo this lock nut, and then you make your adjustments there. So you can see this can go on here. I left this loose from before, and you can make your adjustments right here like this. I haven't loosened this up yet, so it's not moving. So like I said, you loosen this, and then you can adjust everything. Perfect.
All right, guys, with the Paragon bake brake kit installed along with the oil change and the four-wheel alignment, we are all done with today's episodes. On the next episode, we'll be taking you guys to our body shop and Paint Society, going to show you guys step by step how you're going to refinish the entire front end and also turning that carbon fiber roof from matte finish to a glossy finish. You guys don't want to miss. Make sure you guys subscribing to our channel. You like what you see, give it a thumbs up, and also drop a comment below and let us know how we are doing. My name is Mike, on behalf of FK8 Garage. Thank you very much for watching. We hope to see all of you next week.